the whole first page yesterday, or at least most of it. There is a little true-false part on your test tomorrow. Okay, so if you want to just run through those, take a guess right now, and then we'll check them. Okay? Read through each one of those. Remember, what does the F to the negative 1 stand for? F to the negative 1 means the inverse. Okay, so read through each one, circle true or false, and then we'll check them. Okay, let's check the first three. Number 8. The domain of F is the same as the range of F inverse. True or false? True. Okay, next one. The range of F is the same as the range of F inverse. That is false. Good morning. Okay, the x-intercept for each function is the same. True or false? The x-intercept for F is still an x-intercept for F inverse. True or false? False. What does an x-intercept turn into? Turns into a y-intercept. Okay? Because think about, like, if your first point, if it's a 3, 0, that would be an x-intercept. But when I reverse it, what happens to it? It becomes 0, 3. That's a y-intercept now. So that is false. Okay, next one says the graphs of F and F inverse intersect at the origin. Okay, true or false on that? Okay, let's just look back at one of our pictures and see. Okay, did they cross at the origin? No, where's the origin? Here, right? Or if I look at the other two pictures, now, do they always cross? Yeah. Okay, this one down here actually does seem to cross at the origin, but they don't have to. Okay, so that next one is false. They do have to cross, but not at the origin. They can cross anywhere on that diagonal. Okay, next one says they have rotational symmetry. True or false? True. Now, there are two types of rotational. Is it 180 or 90? Do you remember? I'll just tell you, it's 180. Okay, the reason why is because you have to spin it a full 180 degrees for it to look the same. So, like, think about, like, if your little picture was a fidget spinner, okay? Okay, if you spun it around 180 degrees, it would look exactly the same. That's what that means. Now, what if I only did it 90 degrees? Then it would be, like, sideways, right? That wouldn't match the original. Okay, last one says they have a symmetry around the x-axis. Is that true? Where is the symmetry in the picture? Where's the line that we always draw for symmetry? It's this one, right? This is the line of symmetry. Okay, is that line the x-axis? No. That diagonal is y equals x. Okay, so that would be no. False. Okay, they do have a symmetry, but it's across the diagonal line, y equals x. Okay? All right, bottom section. This is what we've covered this week. I'm not going to do a bunch of them, but I'll do a couple because I mainly want to do the last page ones where you're T-charting. So let's start with 16. Okay, what would you do first? Actually, no, let's do 17 instead, just since it's got more stuff. Okay, what would I do first on 17? Okay, subtract the 1, good. Okay, 11 take away 1 is how many?
10.
Perfect. 6x minus 20 equals 10. Next step. Square, good. Square both sides. Okay, and then remember, if the base is negative, you have to use parentheses when you type it in. If it's not negative, you can just type it in normal. What is 10 squared? 100. So 6x minus 20 equals 100. What's next? Plus 20. Okay, test it tomorrow. Let's put the phones away, please. Okay, 100 plus 20 is 120. Because my 20s cross out. And then how do I get rid of the 6? Divide. 120 divided by 6, what do we get? 20. Okay, there, it was a square root. Do you have to check for ES's on these? Yes. Okay, and on your test, there's like a little space where it says check. And so if it's cubic, you can just cross it out. But if it's a square root or a fourth root, you should check. Okay, so you do square root, 6 times 20, minus 20, plus 1 equals 11. And then if you write it down, I'm fine with you typing the rest of that into the calculator. I don't need you to do it by hand. So remember, I type this side in, and then I just see, does it give me 11, or does it give me something else? Okay? So square root 6 parentheses 20, minus 20, out of the house, plus 1. Okay, type it in just like that. And I did get 11, so you can put a check. Okay. Let's do one of the cube roots. Let's do number, I guess 20 is good. Okay, number 20, what do you do first? Add the 3, good. 13 plus 3 then gives me 16. Okay, what do we do next after that? Okay, divide by 2. 16 divided by 2 is how many? Okay, good, 8. What do we do next after that? Cube both sides. And remember, if it's a square root, you square, cubic root, you cube. So I'm going to do my little 3 here and my 3 here. Now remember, the cubes get big pretty fast. So in your calculator, you just do 8 times 8 times 8 or 8 up to the 3. Either one of those. Okay? So that'd be 8 up to the 3 gives me 512. Okay? So I have 12x. These guys cross out. 12x equals 512. Divide by 12. You got it. And that gives me x equals, I'm just going to leave it as 512 over 12 so I don't have to write a big decimal. Okay? Now, when you check it, do you have to do it if it's a cube? So I'm going to write over here, no check. Okay? You can check it still if you want to, just to make sure you got it right, but you don't have to. Now, if you did want to check, how do you pull up the cubic root in the calculator? Math 4. Very good. So I'm going to put right here, that in the calculator is math 4. Okay? Alright, let's do number 22 below that, please. Okay, what would we do first on 22? Okay, it's a 4th power for my root, so I would have to do a what? Raise both sides to the 4. If your base is negative, okay, you have to put parentheses. Okay, otherwise when you put it in the calculator, it'll come out wrong. Okay, so negative 1 up to the 4. Okay, I got negative 1, is that right? No, what's wrong with it? You gotta put parentheses, especially if it's a square or a 4th. Okay, so it should give me with parentheses what number? Okay, positive 1, okay, which is correct. So I have 4x minus 19 equals positive 1. From there, what? Plus the 19 across. 1 plus 19 gives me 20. And then if 4x is 20, divide by 4, x is what? 5. Do you have to check 4th roots? Yes. Cubic roots you don't. Square roots and 4th roots you do. Okay, now remember to pull the little 4th root. Actually, let me write it down first. Okay, so for my check, I want to do the 4th root of 4, plug in a 5 minus 19, -1. And I want to know, is that true? Okay, to get the fourth root, remember this one's a little weird. You have to type the 4 in first, then hit Math 5. Okay, now tomorrow when you take your test, I think I told you guys this, but I just want to remind you, I'm not going to be here. You're going to have a sub. Okay, Ashton has his biopsy tomorrow on his hand, so I'm going to be out all day. So the reason you're writing this stuff down, I'll put it on the board, but you have to know how to type it in because your sub's not going to be a math teacher. Okay, so you would type in 4 Math 5, and remember how it plugs the 4 into the little elbow. Okay, then you do 4 parentheses 5 minus 19. Does it equal -1? +1. So what type of solution is that? Extraneous. Okay, now some of you guys, I noticed on your homeworks, y'all don't do the check. Okay, if you solve it, that's good, but if you don't mark it as extraneous, you'll lose a couple of points. So just make sure tomorrow that you do check it. Okay, turn the page. All right, next ones are both T-charts. We're going to do 24, but you should be able to do 23. Okay, anytime you see an x squared and an x, that's going to be T-chart. Okay, so look at number 24 for me. What number would I put at the top of my chart for that one? Okay, -12, very good, that's perfect. A and C have to be multiplied together. So a lot of times, if there's not a number here, you're just putting C. But if there's an A, you have to remember to times as well. What are my choices for 12? 1 and 12, 2 times 6, or 3 and 4. Okay, now remember, if it's a minus at the top of the chart, you have to subtract. I want to get in the middle a +1. So which pair would I want? Okay, which way do I minus? 3 minus 4 or 4 minus 3? Okay, when you divide, you're not just dividing by x. What are you dividing by? What's in the front? 2x. Okay, remember that if there's a number there, okay, you have to multiply by that number to get the chart, but then you have to divide by that number again at the end. Now, 3 can't divide, but 4 can. What is 4 divided by 2? 2 over x. And then I'm ready to write my factors. Okay? So it'll be 2x minus 3, and then x plus 2. And those are your answers. Then if you don't remember the shortcut, remember you can always set those equal to 0 separately. Okay, so I could let 2x minus 3 equal 0, and then let x plus 2 equal 0. Okay, but if you remember the shortcuts, that's fine too. Okay, then my minus 3 is going to move over. How's it going to turn? To a positive 3. And then if 2x is equal to positive 3, divide by 2, x is 3 over 2. Okay? Then for my next one, I had an x plus 2, so the opposite of that is x equals minus 2. Now remember, you only have to check for the extraneous if it had a square root. So like for this one, there was never a square root in the problem. I don't have to worry about it. Okay? So come down to number 26. Okay, we're now going to use our T-chart in our solving. This is what we covered, I think, last week. Okay, I'm going to square both sides. When I square the 2x, that's 2x times 2x again. What do I get? 4x what? Squared. 4x squared equals. Then on this side, that crap crosses out. 23x minus 15. So remember that when you square, you have to square the x and the 2. Okay? Then from there, these guys have to move over. So instead of a positive 23x, when it moves over, that's going to be a minus 23x. And then instead of a minus 15, now it's a plus 15. And then we're going to set up our chart from there. So 4 times 15 is my A times C. What's 4 times 15? 60. Very good. Okay. And then 60, remember if you want to see the list, you do 60 divided by x. Okay, just oops crap. 60 divided by x. Okay, and then you can just look through the list if you don't want to have to make your own. Okay, let's see what our partners are. They have to add to give me 23. Perfect. Okay, look right here. Remember, you don't want any of the negatives. Okay, just like he said, 3 and 20 multiply to 60, and 3 and 20 add to 23. So those are my partners. Now, if I want to get a negative 23, I turn them both negative. Okay, from here, you're not done. I multiplied by the 4 to get the chart. What do I have to do at the end? Divide by 4x. Okay, negative 20 divided by 4 will go. What does it give me? Negative 5 over x. Okay, and then the other one will just stay a fraction. So it'll be 4x minus 3. And that one will be x minus 5. Okay? Then remember, I'm going to just do the shortcut this time since we did it the long way last time. For this one, if it's a minus 3, I switch it to a positive 3, and then where does the 4 end up when you solve? On the bottom. It'll turn it into a fraction. Okay, then on this one I had an x minus 5, so that's going to switch to a positive 5. Okay? Alright, go down to the next one. Let's do number 28. Okay, square both sides. Okay, 3p squared is 3p times 3p. What do you get? 3p times 3p. 9p squared. Very good. And then on the other side, it's just 7 plus p. Now, when you move them over, make sure you move them over in the correct order. Who's moving next? Okay, good. The p is going to move over next. So it'll be 9p squared minus p, and then minus 7 equals 0. And then from there, you'll set up your chart. Okay, 9 times negative 7 gives me negative 63, yep. Then I'm going to go into my chart here, and instead of 60 over x, I'm going to make it 63 over x. Now this time, they have to minus to give me a 1, right? So I'm going to look through my chart and see if I can find numbers that will minus to give me a 1. Okay, let's see. I don't think this is going to have partners. 7 and 9 is the closest that you can get. So then this one, just put no solution. Okay, here's the problem. The closest partner I have is 7 times 9. But when I subtract those, what do I get? Do I get a 1? You get 2. So we'll just put no solution. Okay, you're off the hook on that one. Okay, next 3, you're just doing your shortcut. These should be quick, quick, quick. You're not going to double distribute. Here's the shortcut. If it's a plus b squared, remember you do a squared, then you do b squared, and then in the middle, do you remember you put them together and you double it? So it'd be ab, but then doubled. Okay, so let's do the quick shortcut on these 3, and then we have 3 to solve. So first one, blank, blank, blank. I take my first term, I square it. What does that give me in the first blank? X squared. Then I take my last term and I square it. What is 8 squared? 64. Then in the middle, I put them together, so that's an 8x, but then I have to double it. So what would that be? 16x. Okay, and you're done. So these, you're not actually solving the whole way out, you're just setting up that one step of the solving. Okay, look at the next one. Blank, blank, blank. What's my first blank going to be? X squared. Now, for my next blank, this is a minus 10. But what is minus 10 times minus 10? Positive 100. Okay, then in the middle, I put them together. Minus 10x, but then I have to double it. Negative 20x in the middle. Okay? One more left just like that. Blank, blank, blank. First one is a 4x. Ephraim, it's the review from yesterday. Okay, what is 4x times 4x? 16x squared. Very good, because remember, you have to do 4 times another 4, and then x times another x. Okay, then for my plus 3, what's 3 times 3? 9. Then remember, I multiply them together. What is 4x times 3x? 12x. But then I have to double it. What goes in the middle? 24x. Good. Okay? So now look down at number 31, and we're going to do it with the big solving. Okay? So look at it. I'm going to square both sides. And on this left side, you're going to need the blank, blank, blank. Okay, the reason why is because it's not just an x over there, it's an x plus 4. So we're going to have to shortcut it. Now, let's do the other side first. Okay, if there's a squared and a square root, that just gives me the 3x plus 10. So that side is easy. Okay, the squared and the square root cross out. Okay, what will my shortcut be for the x plus 4? First blank will be an x squared. Last blank will be a 4 squared. How much is that? 16. And then in the middle, I put them together and I double. So together, it'll be a 4x, but then I have to double it. 8x. When you see the x squared, you're going to have to t-chart. That means all your terms have to go to the same side. Okay, but you have to do them, like line them up. So when I minus this 3x over, who am I going to take it away from? 8x. So that's going to give me x squared. And then 8 take away 3 gives me a 5x. Okay, my other number over there, I had a plus 10. To get rid of a plus 10, I'm going to have to do a minus 10. And I would line that up under the 16 because they're both numbers, so they're like terms. 16 minus 10 leaves a plus 6 left over. And then once it's equal to 0, that's where you can t-chart. Okay? So let's t-chart right here. Okay, 1 times 6 is 6. I have 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. Now, 1 and 6 subtract to give me 5. 2 and 3 add to give me 5. Which one do I want? 2 and 3. Because what's the top of my chart? It's a positive 6. So I can't do 6 minus 1. That's a subtraction. So I'll do 2 and 3, divide them both by x. Bless you. So it's x plus 2 and x plus 3. Which means that what are your solutions? Negative 2 and negative 3. Okay? Then on your test tomorrow, you have space where you can check both of those. Okay? So let's at least check one of them to make sure that you remember how to do it. Okay, so let's say we want to check negative 2. So I'm going to go back to my original equation. So it'll be negative 2 plus 4 equals 3 times negative 2 plus 10. And then remember that when you have x's on both sides, you just type both sides in and make sure they match each other. Okay, it's okay if it's a random decimal. They just have to match each other. So let's see. Okay, first side, I'm typing in negative 2 plus 4. This we could have done in our head. That gives me 2. Now I'm typing in this side. Square root, 3 parentheses negative 2, and then plus 10. Okay, I got 2 for both. Is it a match? Yes. Okay, let's go ahead and check the other one just while we're at it. My other number was a negative 3. So it'll be negative 3 plus 4. 3 times negative 3 plus 10. And you're literally just switching out what that x is with whatever answer you got. Okay? And if you want to be really lazy, look, I can just come up here and push enter on it, and then just change my 2 to make it a 3. Okay, my first one came out to be a 1. Then my other side, I'm going to come up and grab it because I feel really lazy, and then I'll just change the 2 to a 3. Okay, so I got 1 on both. That means that both of them are good to go. Neither one of those are extraneous. Okay? All right, last page. Okay, we have 2 more like the one that we just did. Let's do number 33. Okay, square both sides. Am I going to need a shortcut on this one? Yes, left or right side? The right side. So this side over here is good to go. These cross out. I have 4x plus 8 equals. And then on that other side, I'm going to set up my blank, blank, blank. Okay, because it wasn't just an x over there. It was an x minus 1. Okay, what goes in the first blank? X squared. What goes in the last blank? Plus or minus 1? Plus 1. Good job. And then in the middle, I put them together. So that would be a negative 1x when I squish them together, but then I have to double it. So it's a minus 2x. Okay, now at this point, remember, you don't move the x squared. The other terms have to come to the x squared. So that means that I'm going to have to cancel out this 4x. And then I'm going to cancel out the 8 next. So 4x minus 4x crosses out. I have x squared. What is negative 2x's minus 4 more x's? Good, negative 6x. Okay, then my last step, I have a plus 8. Have to minus 8 and minus 8. What is 1 minus 8 on that last term? Negative 7. And now that everything is gone off that left side, we crossed everything out. It's equal to 0. I can t-chart. Okay? Set up your chart. Negative 7 on the top. What are my factors for 7? Only one pair. 1 and 7. If I want to get a minus 6 in the middle, where do I put the minus? On the 7. Good. Then I divide both sides by x. And I'll get x plus 1 and x minus 7. And then if 1 is a plus and 1 is a minus, remember for your answer, they both switch signs. So my first answer will be negative 1. My second answer will be positive 7. And then since they're square roots, you should check both. Okay, because they can both come out to be extraneous. So I'll check the first one on here. It'd be 4 times x is minus 1 plus 8. And then negative 1 minus 1. And then I'll plug in both sides, make sure they match. If they do, put a check. If they don't, cross it out, put an ES for extraneous. Okay? So I'd have square root 4, negative 1, plus 8. My left side comes out to be, okay, 2. My other side comes out to be negative 1 minus 1. Came out to be, hopefully you can see it on there, negative 2. Is that a match? No. So I would cross out my equals, put an ES. Or if you want to write out extraneous solution, that's fine. Okay? Let's check our other side. Square root 4 plus, times 7 plus 8 equals 7 minus 1. And remember, all that you're doing is taking wherever the x is in here, and you're replacing it with a number that you got one at a time. Okay? 4 times 7 under the square root plus 8. Left side comes out to be 6. Is 7 minus 1 going to also come out to be 6? Yes. You can type it in if you want to, but they both come out to be 6. So the second one is good. One was extraneous, one wasn't. Versus last time, they were both, I think, good. So you want to make sure you check. Okay, the last 3 are what we did on Tuesday. Okay, so you're just basically plugging in for one letter or the other. Okay, so let's say that I'm doing 35. Okay, it says the length of the square can be modeled by, so L is length. And then it says that x is the serial number of the square, so it's how many squares you're at. Okay, I'm going to break this up into part A and part B like it is on your test. Says which square has a length of 100? So where would I plug in 100? For the L, right? So I'd take my 100, I'd plug it in right here. So it'd be 100 equals 1200x plus 400. Okay? What would I do first? Square both sides. Now, what I'm actually going to do even before that is I'm going to flip it around. Okay? But I don't care if you can do it without, that's fine. So it'll be 1200x plus 400 equals 100. And then I'm going to square and square. Okay, in your calculator, 100 times 100 gives me 10,000. And on the other side, these square roots cross out. So I have 1200x plus 400. Big numbers, but we can do it. What's the next step? Yep, take away the 400. 10,000 minus 400. Yep. Okay, and then what do I do with the 1,200 in front of that? Divide. Good. 8 exactly? Perfect. So that means that the 8th square would go with that side length. Okay? Okay, now there's a part B in here. On your test, it's broken up to where you can see that there are two different questions. But do you see the second question right here? Okay, it says, what is the length of the 15th square? Okay, so for part B, I would plug in x equals 15. And pretty much, I think on your test, there's a part A and a part B. You plug in for one letter, then you plug in for the other letter. Okay, so it'd be L equals 1200 times 15 plus 400. And then I want to point out to you that this one you're not really solving. You're just typing it in. All your numbers are on the same side. So whatever that number is, that'll be your answer. So you'll just put it in the calculator. So square root 1200 times 15 plus 400. Okay, it comes out to be 135.6. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and do that last one and then you'll have the rest of the class to work. So it says, the average profit a company makes in millions from 2000 to 2008 can be modeled by, okay, X is the number of years, and then I'm going to put over here Y is the average profit. Okay, that's like the very first part, but I kind of wrote on it. Okay, so X is the year, Y is the amount of profit. Okay, look at your part A, your first question. In what year would it be 15 million? Well, then what would I have to do? Plug in 15 for X or Y. I want 15 million to be the profit, so I plug in for Y. So notice your Y equals is on this side, so I'm just going to move it over. So I'll put my 15 here. 4.5, 1.2x plus 1.05. Okay, then I'm not sure if the one on your test is like this or not. I don't remember. But you don't have to put a bunch of zeros behind it because it says the profit's already in millions. So if it's 15 million, I'm just plugging in 15. Don't put a bunch of zeros after it. Okay, then from there I'd flip it around and then solve. Okay, so remember we switch it around and then we solve. Now on this one, can I square as my first step? No. Divide by the 4.5 first. 15 over 4.5 gives me 3.3. And then what would I do next? You would square both sides. These guys cross out. So I have 1.2x plus 1.05 equals 3.3 squared gives me 10.89. And then what would I do after that? Subtract 1.05. So then I'm going to have 1.2x equals, these guys crossed out, 1089 minus 105 gives me 9.84. And then last step, divide by 1.2. 9.84 divided by 1.2 gives me 8.2. And that'd be your answer. Okay? Then just like on your test, that was your question A. Your question B says, how much profit would there be in 2016? So what year would I plug in if I want to be in 2016? You plug in 16, right? Not the whole 2000, because you're not starting until 2000. So you just take your 16, plug it in for X, because that's a year, and then you would figure out what it is. So it'd be Y equals 4.5 square root 1.2 times 16 plus 1.05. And then when you type it in, just make sure that you keep that plus 1.05 in the house when you type it in. Okay, it looked just like that. Okay, and we got 20.25. Okay? Okay, y'all still have about 12 minutes. So just a couple of things about tomorrow. You're taking the test with a sub. I'm giving the sub. Everybody listen right now. Look at me. Okay. Michaela, you back there? Michaela. Jose? Yep. Okay, listen. Okay, tomorrow I am telling the sub that if she sees a phone out, to take your test and you're done. When you're finished with your test, I don't care. Okay, but y'all know that a lot of times I'll let you put an earbud in and I don't make a big deal out of it because I know that I'm watching. Okay, the sub, I'm telling her, one phone, you're done. You're not going to have time to finish it. She's going to take it based on when she saw the phone out. You'll be finished at that point. You have enough time to finish in the class period. Okay, so make sure that you use that time wisely. You can turn in your review if it's done, or you can wait till Monday. No phones during your test. Got it? Okay, good. Review, finish it. If you're on Remind 101, I'm going to send you the answer key so that you can check it. Okay, and then I'm staying after school today till 5. So if you need any help, I'll be here till 5 o'clock. Maybe like even 5:15 if you really need help, okay? If you are not on Remind 101, okay, I'll put the code up here. Okay, but you're not going to get the answer key if you're not on there. So it's at 8EEFGB. And if you have the app, you can add the code there, or you can text that to 81010. Okay? And it'll add you, and you'll just get it on your phone. Okay? Hello. Hi. Okay, I can do that. Okay, thanks. Bye. Okay, you're good to go. And then if you want to join it, you can.